Hello Internet, and welcome to the YieldTomato gaming channel for a very special vlog post, if you will. We have somewhat recently exceeded over 1,000 video games in our collection. So I figured now would be a good time to share with everybody that cares why I collect. It's kind of a strange story, if you will, almost entirely because the events that I feel impacted this seem almost like they're part of a crime drama like Law and Order. You'll understand in a little bit. So, where to start? So when I was really young, I would say probably as early as 4 or 5, I would play video games on a regular basis, like many people did. I started with the NES just because it was really cheap and affordable at the time, but I never had one. It was actually a friend of mine that we'd play with, would go over and play with, and would actually rent games too, whenever I'd go over to his place. And then we got this, the first one that we had was a Super Nintendo. And I would, of course, go and rent games all the time. And one game that I would get on a regular basis, because I would play it with my uncle a lot, was Donkey Kong Country. Now, I was terrible at it. So I would rent it occasionally just so I could, improve on it. I didn't own a copy. My uncle did. So every time we'd go out to visit him, we would sit down and we would play Donkey Kong Country, and I would do terribly. But I didn't care. I was having fun with my uncle. It was something we did on a regular basis, and we truly enjoyed the time we spent with it. And we would do that literally every time I went over to visit. Literally every time. We'd sit down, we'd play that, and we'd play Super Empire Strikes Back, which is such a hard game. But because there's no real two-player functionality, we gravitated towards Donkey Kong Country. So when I was about 15, he was murdered by his wife, who had previously, quite a few years previously, had been a police officer. And that was very strange for me. I didn't really know how to respond to it, emotionally and, physically, if you will. So I was kind of just really shaken, just like almost speechless, a little bit distraught and distracted quite often. I don't know. It's really hard to explain the feeling when someone is murdered, especially when it was by their significant other, and to top all of that off, she claimed that it was, that they'd both been drinking. He hadn't touched alcohol in about 25 years, which is a part of the reason why I personally don't drink. So that's probably actually a big part of why I don't drink, because I don't want that to become an excuse at any point, because there is no excuse for the actions you take, especially when it comes to something like that. And then, to top it all off, it was just a very strange year, if you will. Only a few months later, somebody had broken into our house and stolen all of the jewelry that my mother had, and they took my PlayStation 2, all of my games for the PlayStation 2, and for the GameCube. And at the time I didn't have a whole lot of games, because at this point I was still regularly doing what a lot of people do, which is I was buying games, playing them till I was tired of them, trading them in to a local used store, and getting other games. And then I would actually occasionally find myself going back and trading games in again to get games I had previously traded in because I wanted to play them again. So I was kind of getting tired of that routine anyway, because, let's face it, if found myself buying the same game 3 or 4 times because I had the urge to play it again. So I was kind of getting to a point where this is kind of dumb. I don't know why I keep doing this, because I keep wanting to come back to it. Well, then all of my games are stolen. And that's, I think, was like the final click for me. That I shouldn't be getting rid of my games so frivolously, because I'm enjoying them so much, and then I'm done with them for now, and then I want to come back to them, and it was a repeat process. I kept doing it. So, and I was acknowledging and noticing this trend. But then all of my games were stolen, and my PS2, including some games I was borrowing from friends. However, not all of, I shouldn't say all my games, all of my PS2 and GameCube games were stolen. What was left behind was this copy of Metal Gear Solid 1, and with the exception of the adapter and screen, this GameCube. They left behind a PS1 game and a Nintendo GameCube. So this here is literally where my collection started. Everything else has been acquired since then. So these are literally the 2 oldest things that I have owned. The GameCube I had actually bought new at oddly enough, at the store I work at now. And it was the Platinum Bundle that came with Mario Kart Double Dash. And it came with a coupon, a voucher for $15 off any GameCube game. And this was the first game console that I saved up for aggressively for myself. And I bought it with one purpose and one intent, and that was so I could play Resident Evil 4 because it was exclusive. And yes, that was one of the games that was actually stolen. I have actually bought that game for GameCube twice, and both times I only paid $35 for it. And that's because that $15 coupon this sucker came with, I used on Resident Evil 4, which came out a week after I got this. So that was a really exciting thing for me. And I actually had originally sold this GameCube to some friends that I worked with, and they had moved to Washington. They moved a state up, and eventually, a few years later, they moved back, and I got that thing. I was like, you know, I really miss my old GameCube. So I asked if they still had it when they moved back, and they did. And I offered to buy it back from them, and they said yes. So I was super excited to have my original Platinum GameCube back. And it's not going anywhere at this point. So, from all of that, I mean, I've always enjoyed the artwork in the games. I think part of it's because of Donkey Kong Country being the digitized, pre-rendered artwork. I think that had something to do with it. And so that's another thing I like to do, is I like to collect a lot of art books and stuff for these games, because it's interesting to see the development process and changes that are made throughout it. And these things can hold so many memories for people, it's almost baffling. And you really don't know, I mean, I can't explain how you would expect to know what memories can be attached to something until they're taken from you. Because, like, there are memories of games that I honestly probably wouldn't be able to remember had it not been for the fact that they were stolen. Like, little details about things like, oh, I was at a friend's place and I played a prank on him within the game, because in GTA 3 you can put a bomb in a vehicle. So I parked it in the garage and took my memory card with me to a friend's house and told him there was a car in the garage when he started playing, and it immediately blew up on him. Why would I remember that? I mean, the memories you build with these and the memories that can become attached to these are fascinating to me. Because I do own Donkey Kong Country now, and I'm still really bad at it, but I don't care, because it's a memory of my uncle and the time we spent together, and I'm not gonna forget it. I don't need to keep the game to remember it, but I feel that it's almost like a totem of that. So anyway, yeah, that's just, you know, a quick snippet on why I collect and where my collection started. of all things, it started with a PS1 game and a GameCube, which is kind of strange in hindsight, especially when you come to realize that this game technically ended up on this platform anyway. But anyway, I just figured I'd share why I collect, and I'm curious if there are any stories behind the reasons why any of you guys might collect, or if you even do collect. So please, let me know in the comments below. I'm curious to hear what some of your stories are from gaming, what some of your memories are, and why you collect. If you're not already a subscriber, please click the button above me and subscribe to the channel. We'll keep you up to date on all kinds of things with the collection, a number of different Let's Plays and pickup videos, and who knows, maybe a few more vlogs down the road. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and until next time, have fun, keep playing your games, and keep collecting, keep doing whatever you do.